My name is Hazel Carter. And the day my billionaire grandfather left everyone millions, but handed me just $50, was the day my entire family laughed, until they realized those $50 were worth more than everything they received. The lawyer slid 2 crisp bills across the polished table like they meant nothing. My father smiled quietly, the kind of smile that hides satisfaction. My brother Ethan laughed out loud, not even trying to hide it. Someone whispered, "Figures." I didn't speak. I didn't cry. I just stared at the money in my hands, because my grandfather had never been careless, and this felt deliberate. For years, I had been the quiet one in the family. Not weak. Not useless. Just quiet. While Ethan talked loudly about success and plans, I stayed beside my grandfather when he was sick. I read to him, adjusted his pillows, listened when everyone else rushed out after 5 minutes. I didn't stay because I expected reward. I stayed because he needed someone. And before I tell you what happened next, if you enjoy powerful emotional stories about betrayal, hidden truth, and unexpected justice, make sure to subscribe now. Because stories like this prove that sometimes the smallest things hide the biggest secrets. Back in my car after the will reading, I turned the bills under the dim light. That's when I noticed it. Tiny marks near the serial numbers. Faint lines. Too precise to be random. My pulse quickened. My grandfather used to say, "If you want to hide the truth, put it where no one bothers to look." So instead of going home, I drove to the bank he trusted for decades. Inside the quiet office, I placed the 2 bills in front of the branch manager. At first he looked bored. Then his expression changed completely. The color drained from his face. "Where did you get these?" he asked carefully. "From my grandfather," I replied. He locked the office door. That's when I knew this wasn't about money. It was about something bigger. He explained that the markings weren't random. They were a verification sequence, a signal designed by my grandfather himself. Only someone who noticed those marks would be allowed access to what he had hidden. Minutes later, we stood inside a secure vault room. He opened a private box registered only to my grandfather. Inside were gold bars, investment files, and sealed documents stacked neatly in rows. I couldn't breathe. "This," the manager said calmly, "is approximately $32 million. Tears blurred my vision, not because of the money, but because of the envelope resting on top, my name written in my grandfather's handwriting. Hazel. My hands trembled as I opened it. "If you're reading this," the letter began, "it means you saw what others ignored." Tears slid down my cheeks. "I gave you $50 not because that's what you deserved, but because I needed you to see the truth with your own eyes. Watch who laughs. Watch who stays silent. Those reactions matter more than money." My chest tightened. He had known. He had seen everything. "You stayed when there was nothing to gain. That is why I trust you. The money is not a reward. It is protection. Build a life that never requires you to beg for respect." I pressed the letter to my chest. For the first time since his death, I didn't feel alone. But the story didn't end there. 3 days later, my doorbell rang. When I opened the door, my father, mother, and Ethan stood there, suddenly serious, suddenly polite. "We need to talk," my father said. They walked inside without waiting. "We know about the account," he said flatly. "The one worth over 30 million. So that was it. Not grief. Not love. Money. "You laughed at me," I said quietly. "At the will reading. Do you remember that?" No one answered. My mother stepped forward. "We're family," she whispered. "You should share." There it was. The same word they never used when I was struggling. Family. I placed the legal documents on the table. "This account is protected," I said calmly. "Separate from the will. Completely legal." My father's expression darkened. "If you don't share," he said, "we'll challenge it." I nodded once. "You can try," I replied. "But there's a clause. Any legal dispute voids your inheritance." The room went completely still. Their confidence vanished. For the first time in my life, they realized I wasn't the quiet one anymore. I was the prepared one. They left without another word. And the silence that followed didn't feel lonely. It felt peaceful. Months passed. Calls stopped. Invitations disappeared. My family faded into distance like background noise. It hurt at first, more than I expected, but slowly something stronger replaced the pain. Freedom. I didn't move into a mansion. I didn't chase luxury. I built stability instead. I created a trust to protect my future, invested carefully, and lived simply, just like my grandfather always had. Later, when my daughter Lily was born, I held her in my arms and made one silent promise. She would never feel small just to be loved. Because the truth is, my grandfather didn't leave me $50. He left me clarity. He showed me who laughed when I was humiliated, who stayed silent, and who only came back when money appeared. But more importantly, he showed me who I was when I finally stopped shrinking. And that was the real inheritance. Not the millions. Not the gold. Peace.